Peace, brothers and sisters who have arrived here on this channel. Will the aliens prevent the nuclear war that is about to happen? As I'm making this video live right now, we are seeing the trumpet of war starting to blow there in the Middle East. As of right now, it seems that there are some ships going towards Iran, and a lot of people are expecting this attack to happen this weekend, perhaps even today, even tonight. Therefore, we know that we have been expecting this moment for a long time, and we know that we are entering right now the highest time to watch for the rapture of the church for this year. And you guys are going to see why in this video real shortly. Before I say the words and show you guys what I have to show you guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ricardo Garcia. I make videos on the YouTube about the end times, about the possibilities of the rapture of the church for over a decade already. And I have a plenty of videos here for you to watch. And I highly suggest, if you don't know me, to start here on the Ultimate Timeline video, The End Has Come, and 2026. Those three main important videos of my channel show you biblical proof, astronomical proof, and historical proof that we are indeed most likely in the year that the rapture will happen. So we are already ending the second month, the month of February, and starting March, if we're still here by March, it will be a very high watch time for us because in old calendars, by March, in Roman calendars, they started the year, and then by April, they started the correct year of the Bible. So we are entering the true 2026 year prophetically and historically. And it's very important for you to understand why we are so close to the rapture, because this year has the name of God in it, and there's a lot of confirmations for us to believe this will be the rapture of the church. So please, if you haven't yet, watch this series of videos here for you to see historical, astronomical, and biblical proof we are indeed in the last year of grace for this earth. And after that, if you want, I also have this end time prophecies and studies playlist with all of the videos that I make since I started doing the videos here on this channel. And there are a lot of videos to show how we got where we are right now. So it's a progressive teaching, progressive understanding that we understand and we pass on this channel freely for you to watch and see how we got where we are. There are many signs that God has given us since 2024, 2023, even before, that has been leading us to where we are right now. So I highly encourage you also to watch those because they are very, very important for you. All right? So what is happening here this weekend specifically, right? US military prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend, but Trump has yet to make a final call. Sources say. What else? Trump also to direct US government to release files on alien and extraterrestrial life. So at the same time, we're seeing a possibility of a war that could turn into World War III and aliens connected to this, just like I told you on my previous video. It's a lot of information to process in such a short time, right? So the news are saying the following here. Trump to direct the release of governmental files on aliens files incoming. Trump orders government to release UFO records. Trump directs US government to release the files. And we also have here Trump is prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend. I have one channel here on Telegram that is in Portuguese, but they have uh, news here that are very quick. So I have some information here that it's very interesting. It seems like uh, some airplanes from the US are getting out of Portugal in a path towards the Middle East. Iranian channels are showing a video of US destroyers or US airplane carriers being attacked. So this is a video from Iran here. And we are seeing also here that right now the US aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford just crossed the Gibraltar uh, land here and gets closer to Iran. So we're seeing here that right now, as of right now, on this live stream, you are having a possibility for this attack to take place on Iran. And why is that so important, guys? Why is that so important? That's very important because we are watching exactly this time to something like this. So in this timeline that we were hoping for, what we were watching for a while now, I have shown you guys this limit here, or rapture limit, up to February 20th, which was 40 days before April 1st, the uh, Jewish Passover on April Fool's Day, right? But we know that the Passover lasts until the 4th of April. So from 1st of April to 4th of April here leads us to 40 days before it, the 20th of February up to the 23rd of February. So this weekend specifically, we have been watching for such a long time, guys. You guys remember videos from 2025 showing February 20th, which is this weekend here, as being very important, especially because it's after a total solar eclipse with the Ring of Fire here happening on the 17th of February. So an eclipse foreshadows war, foreshadows judgment on this earth. And exactly on this weekend of the 40 days before Jewish Passover time there, that's what that's all of this that's happening here. So let's stretch a little bit this period of time here for us to see better what's happening on this weekend and what we can expect on the following weekends here to see how important this moment that we are entering right now is. So this moment in time here, we are seeing Trump about to attack Iran, perhaps on this live stream, you guys will see. Also, Trump to reveal aliens. So there's this narrative again, just like on my previous video that they are showing the disclosure date, right? Around June 12th. And also to reinforce this even further, Trump's terrorists were rejected. So Trump is being pushed to do something here in order to retaliate, right? This tariffs being rejected by Supreme Court. So on February 20th, exactly the day that we have been watching for so many months ago, that's when global tariffs were rejected by Supreme Court. And we know that Trump is raising global tariffs to 10% and now 15% just a few hours ago. So we're seeing economic collapse in a form of tariffs being built up. All of the markets, they are shaken because they rely on certainty, and this tariffs being rejected and then tariffs being imposed again. This creates um, a form of chaos that the markets does not like. So they start to buy gold and people get frustrated, people get scared, and the markets all over the world gets a lot of trouble because of this. And we're seeing threats of war. And among all of this, possibilities of releasing files on aliens in extraterrestrial life or demons, right? As we expect them to be released right around the time of the rapture, because they will deceive the whole world, just like they did in 2021. They will deceive again through this fake alien invasion that will explain the rapture of the church to the world and unite the world towards a common goal, which is an earth global government, right? To fight back the aliens or to be assisted by the aliens to this golden era that they are talking about, the AI and the aliens and the robots will do. So everything is getting to this extreme starting this weekend after the solar eclipse. And right after the solar eclipse here, and this weekend that we don't know what will happen, but we are watching closely, and perhaps an attack does happen, which will put the world to a very high threat of World War III, because Iran is friends, is close friends to China and Russia. I believe they were making exercises, military exercises there in the Gulf of Persia. So this also can affect the global economic markets because most of the oil goes through that Gulf. So something very troublesome might happen if this does take place, and it seems like it will very shortly, actually. And after this weekend, we'll have another eclipse to watch, which is a lunar eclipse. And this lunar eclipse here will be a blood moon eclipse happening there on March the 3rd, which will be for the Jews Purim. So on their feast of Purim, that's when the lunar eclipse, blood moon lunar eclipse, will happen. For us that are following the correct astronomical calendar, which are 1 month behind the Jews, so they are ahead on their own biblical calendars. For us, it will be the Feast of New Year for trees, which I've showed you previously, and I think I will show you again. That is interestingly related to the church. So just to confirm for you guys here. So the New Year for trees, Tu B'Shvat, is a season of the earliest blooming trees in the land of Israel. Emerge from the winter sleep and begin a new fruit-bearing cycle. I always tell you guys that I believe that the church is a fruit harvest because we have many fruits from many places in the world, just like there are many people from many nations that speak many languages. Legally, the New Year for trees relates to various tithes that must be separated from produce grown in the Holy Land. We mark the day by eating fruit, particularly from the 7 kinds. There are 7 types of churches, 7 churches. So 7 kinds of fruits: wheat, barley, grapes, figs, pomegranates, olives, and dates. On this date, we remember the man is a tree of the field. So 7 kinds of fruits, waking up from the winter sleep, fruit bearing cycle starting. So very interesting here. He has some connection to the church. So the New Year for trees is interesting to the point that we should at least consider it. So Purim for the Jews is even stronger because for them is a deliverance, and Purim we know happened on Iran. So the story of Purim happened on Iran because Iran used to be called Persia. That's why they have the Gulf of Persia there. Iran used to be called Persia. And the story of Purim, the story of Esther, happens on Iran, happens on Persia. And this is the last full moon before Passover. We know there's a passage in the Bible that tells that the husband, the bridegroom, has left and he will come when the moon is full. So a full moon is always very important for us to watch, especially a blood moon on a Jewish feast that is connected to the church and the deliverance of the Jews. And the true New Year for the trees is also important because out of all of the feasts in the Bible, I believe this is the weakest one, the smallest one, the least important one. But that gives us a hint as well because in an hour you think not that the bridegroom will come, right? That has a connection to the church. So an hour you think not, it could very well be this feast here on March 3rd, which will be for the Jews. Purim, they will see a connection with Esther, which enters the king's palace there. Blood moon, a sign after some kind of attack on Iran, geopolitical events, perhaps some economics trouble, something that happens within this 14 days period of time until the next blood moon. That's a possibility as well. So all of these dates from this weekend up to the next blood moon here is very important for us to watch closely. That will give us a high possibility for us to be leaving this earth, especially because of all of this that is happening right now, 40 days before the Jewish Passover on April Fool's Day. So we are watching closely this moment in time because it might very well be the moment that we are expecting the rapture to happen on this special year of 2026. And to back this up even further, let's just see if something happened here. Not yet. So to back this up even further, I found a pattern that's very interesting here that further shows us that this is a high possibility for us to leave. So this here is the banner of my channel. If you haven't noticed yet, the banner of my channel here on YouTube that I changed, I believe, last year, the end of last year. But it's very interesting because I place it here, all of the important celestial signs that God has been giving us since 2014 up to 2033. And if we pay attention to it and give a closer look, you will see the following here. Let me just, I forgot to clear out those lines here. Just a second. Here and here. All right. So, giving a closer look here, if we look at 2014 and 2015 blood moon tetrads that fell on Passover and Tabernacles of the Jewish feasts 2014 and 2015. We have the dates here, day first, month later. This here is very important. It's a sign that basically made many watchmen starting to watch closely the end times because of this blood moon tetrad. Me, myself, I was turning a Christian around this time, around 2013, 2014, and by 2015 I was completely led to the end times, and I watched a video and the explanation of the blood moons and how they are signs of God, especially when they fall here on Passover and Tabernacles, feasts of God. So 2014, 15 started this journey here, my personal journey about to look at the end times as I was becoming a Christian here. And this was a very important beginning of a journey. And if you look 8 years ahead, so 8 years after this, you will see the following here. 8 years after this, we get to 2021 and 2022, which also happened a blood moon tetrad. But this time it did not fall on Jewish dates, but it did fall on true feast dates. The feast dates that are supposed to be the correct ones, but the Jews are 1 month ahead of the true calendar, so they missed. So on the first Passover Tabernacles tetrad blood moons, they uh, had it. They were able to perceive it, but the second one 8 years later, they missed, and it fell on true feast dates, astronomically speaking. So Passover and Tabernacles 2021, 2022, and we see this 8 connected to this, and you see that this is a pattern that repeats itself, because if you pay attention now to 2018, a very important year as well, the year after the great Revelation 12 sign of 2017. In 2018, we had 2 blood moons happening there in the Feast of Trees, which is the feast that I spoke to you about a little ago, and also fell on the Feast of Wine, which we now know is very important to the church. The Feast of Wine is the true Feast of Pentecost, the moment that the church began, and the Holy Spirit came into the church. And in 2018, those were Jewish dates. Back in the day, we didn't know the astronomical correct dates, so we were following it as well. And we saw it, the Jews perceive it, that it fell on the Feast of Trees, and the second one fell on the Feast of Wine. Those feasts are most important to the church, as you saw the Feast of Trees already. And the Feast of Wine is the biggest, most important feast for the church because it's the true date that the church began Pentecost. But these in 2018 were the Jewish dates, and they were still 1 month ahead. So they were watching the wrong dates, but they considered this to be those dates. But if you look 8 years ahead, 8 years ahead of this, takes us to 2026, which is the year that we are right now. which we will have a Passover, April Fool's Day for the Jews. They are still 1 month ahead. But now on this year, we also have two blood moons happening. One here that falls on March the 3rd, which is the true Feast of Tree, astronomically speaking. But as the Jews are 1 month ahead, they call this Purim. But it's 8 years after the previous connection. There's also this connection here. And go figure, there's also a blood moon happening on the August 27th date, which is true Feast of Wine. For the Jews, they consider this to be Elul, so they will be missing this. But the true astronomical feasts are the Feast of Trees and Feast of Wine this year. So you see a pattern here that the Jews first call it wrong, and then the most important ones in the true dates they missed. They first call it wrong, but then on the true dates, which is this year, they are missing. But the church, that we are the church, we are not missing it. And those feasts are most important to the church. If you're still confused about the Feast of Wine being the true Pentecost, because I know there are voices on the internet denying it to the most of their power, I have a video specifically for this to show step by step in the Bible how the Feast of Wine is true Pentecost. And I was watching here. It is this video here. You can watch here on my channel. I did 7 months ago. And on this video, I showed you step by step in the Bible why the Feast of Wine is the true Pentecost. And I have here, I use the Bible. I have here the explanation. I use the map. There are plenty here of information for you to see why the true Pentecost is the Feast of Wine. Don't forget to watch this video if you're still confused, and if you know someone who are still confused about the true Pentecost, send them this video. It's already a very neat, complete video for people to understand based on the Bible chronology of the passage of John and Acts. So on this year of 2026, we are watching two important blood moons take place. One on March, the upcoming one, 13 days from now, and the next one on August, the 27th of August, which will be Feast of Wine or True Pentecost. Those are very important dates, very important feasts for the church specifically, that the Jews are calling Purim, the first one here, which could make them understand the church going to, as Esther, going towards the king's palace. And as I have shown you guys on previous video as well, 2024 was the year of Esther, because the astronomical sky was exactly the same as it was in the story of Esther in 480 BC. So we had the Esther eclipses to the date. And 2024, being the year of Esther, takes us to 2026, being the third day, or the third year since the year of Esther. That translates to Esther going towards the king's presence on the third day, which is even more confirmations for us. So we are within the time frame that we were watching, which is started on February 20th, this weekend. We're seeing a possibility of World War III, a possibility of releasing the files on aliens, and we're seeing here global economics going to waste because of war and because of tariffs again. We're watching a blood moon happening for the Jews, what they call Purim. It's actually a feast most connected to the church, the Feast of Trees, which is the hour most people think not, but still a blood moon. Very interesting. And the next blood moon will be exactly on the true Feast of Pentecost, as if it's showing that this is the moment that the church has left, the moment that the Spirit has left this earth, perhaps before the April Fool's Day Passover, the Passover of the fools who were left behind. So it's a very possibility, especially because we are around 40 days before the April Fool's Day Passover. So this weekend, guys, the rapture could actually happen this weekend. And it's a possibility that we are truly believing and watching with our own eyes. It could be this weekend. Perhaps Iran is attacked and the trumpet sounds, or the trumpet sounds a day after, or on the weekend after this weekend, or perhaps on Jewish Purim. That's when the blood moon shows that the church, as Esther, is hidden in the king's palace. We are within this rapture window here, this time frame, that are very important and very strong, especially this 2026 year, to be the moment for the rapture of the church. And seeing all that is happening as of right now, let me just check again to see if something happened here. It could very well start any time now. So it didn't start now. But it could happen very well right now, this night, in a few hours from now. We could be going home. So I'm very hopeful, and I hope that you are as well. Just to finalize here, so the Jews are calling the fake Purim or the false Purim in 2026. 8 years later takes us to 2033, which will be true Purim, but they will call it 1 month ahead, Passover. So on 2033, the 14th of April, the Jews are going to miss true Purim, but they are going to call it Passover. But the true Passover will be on the 14th of May, which will be not just the anniversary of 85 years since Israel were declared independent, and also the Passover for Christ to start reigning the Millennium Kingdom in 2033, in 14th of May, after a blood moon true Purim happening there in 2033, which the Jews will call it Passover. But on 14th of May, they will call it second Passover. So it is a Passover for those that took a long journey and they will go through this long tribulation journey to meet the king, right? So it's very interesting. This blood moon here, tetrad in 2032 and 2033 will be very interesting because in 2032 it will actually fall on Passover and Tabernacles astronomically, and the Jews will perceive it. But 2033 it will fall on Purim, Purim, and the other here feast. I believe it will be Elul. So Purim and Elul, but the Jews will call it Passover and Tabernacles. So 1 year they will perceive, the other one they will be wrong. So very interesting because it will be a tetrad with different feasts, but perceived by the Jews to be Passover and Tabernacles and Passover and Tabernacles. And we are within that this time frame here from 2026 up to 2033. That's the least amount of time that we have left for the tribulation to take place. And we are watching this with high expectation because we truly believe we are very, very, very close to the rapture of the church here. Perhaps in just a few hours or a few minutes, something will happen there in the Middle East, and we will all be together there in the kingdom when we hear the trumpet sound. I'm watching very closely because I do think we should be going home very, very soon. All right? Until then, if you are blessed by this channel, if you're blessed by this ministry here, if you're blessed by all these studies that I make, you can assist us here on the channel. The links will be in the description box for you to assist us as we are living here through the daily lives, daily sacrifice that we have to do. But I also have something new to tell you guys. Fortunately, I was able to create a page on the internet for you guys to support me if you guys want on the website called buymeacoffee.com/watch with me. This is very hard for a person not in the US to create because it is very restrictive on the US there. But I was able, thanks to God, to create this page here. And this here allows you to support me monthly. With just one coffee a month, you could make a whole difference here in our lives. In this platform here, you're able to come see here and receive some studies, some posts that I will be doing here. And you can become a member here. And just with one coffee a month here that you pledge to support us here, you will be able to assist us very much because we were living here in a troublesome country called Brazil, where they are increasing the taxes day by day. They are devaluing our money, and things are getting hard here in Brazil. So every help that you do, every coffee that you pledge to us will help us a lot. And I'm very grateful and thankful for all of those that are led by the Holy Spirit to assist us here. And this page here, I believe, will be a platform that will help more people to come here and quickly just assist us on an easy way. Is buymeacoffee.com/watch with me. And this is my page. It's also on the description box. If you want to assist us, this will be an easier way for you to do. Otherwise, we also have PayPal there and other means on the description box. Amen. I hope that you're blessed by this video. I hope that we are leaving here within some minutes, hours, perhaps this weekend, today or tomorrow. We're not sure when, but we know it's close. Most likely before this nuclear war starts, some kind of alien tech will prevent the nukes from going off, perhaps prevent the nukes from Israel or from Iran. I believe they already have it, right? So something will happen, and this will all be connected to the rapture of the church because they have to bring this great deception to deceive the whole world towards the what just happened, right, with the rapture of the church. They have to deceive and unite the whole world, bring the chaos for the Antichrist, which I believe is Jared Kushner, to come here and create the world peace as they are saying. Perhaps this happens this weekend. If not, we're going to watch up to the lunar eclipse there. Very important 14 days, 2 weeks that we have. If not, we will watch until April Fool's Day Passover for them. And after that, we'll have to watch closely as we get towards here the ultimate limit, which is going to be to the 21st of June. But I believe that before that, we should be going home. And it could very well be in this time frame before Passover. Amen. Maranatha, I hope that you're blessed, and I hope that we meet each other in the air very, very soon, guys. Maranatha, God bless each and every one of you.